Stevens is number 7 on our Season 1 leaderboard, and he is someone that's looking to go to the Players' Championship. He's off to a great start so far this year, and he's well on his way to maybe another top 8 here in Atlanta.
And Brad, 5-1, rebounding well from his round 1 loss, which we captured on camera.
And he said he's cursed on the SCG Tour. I'm not sure what that means. He's former Players' Champion, so...
He's done fine for himself. What is he talking about?
Yeah, I don't understand what that meant, but he says there's an SCG Tour curse for him.
Double-digit open top 8s, I'm sure.
Yeah. Former Invitational Champion.
He's made how much money playing in these tournaments?
I don't know. I don't, yeah. Cursed, huh?
Cursed?
Yeah. It's an interesting word to use there,
yeah,
Mr.
fails the words mean thing test.
Brad, and he's starting off with a turn 2 Jace. What are you even complaining about?
Dragon Lord Ojutai already in hand, you know? We'll just see how this shakes out.
Stevens, with an Evolving Wilds, had found a forest. Now he'll play a polluted Delta. We'll head Nelson's way.
Silk Wrap, another nice tool here for Nelson in the matchup. Removal of that Exiles is at a premium here. You break up the graveyard synergy, Rally becomes a lot less threatening.
A Flooded Strand going to search up a basic island. Stevens is going to take a moment to sacrifice his polluted Delta. And now Jace will go active. So Nelson will draw and discard. It looks like he may have picked up a copy of Scatter to the Winds.
Oh, a counterspell on Curve? The curse continues.
Dragon Lord Salumgar, the discard.
Come on!
It's not easy being Brad.
So frustrating.
Just going to almost assuredly counter your Catacomb Sifter or whatever. Yeah. And Catacomb Sifter was the draw for Todd. There's a Reflector Mage. Will that one resolve?
You know, Brad's counterspells are a very precious resource here. It looks like he is going to go countering it. I thought he might just let it go.
It's interesting, right? Because I agree with you that the counterspells like Scatter the Winds are very important for cards like Collected Company and Rally of the Ancestors. But Reflector Mage basically puts Jace back 2 turns.
Yep. And then what are you doing next turn? Just saying go and hope he plays something better to scatter? It's fine to counter here.
I think that more speaks to the strength of Reflector Mage than anything.
Yes. It's impressive for Stevens to be able to get a counterspell out of that creature in this matchup where Brad barely has any targets for it.
Utter end the discard off of Jace. 4 cards in the graveyard. Shambling Vent was the land. Stevens with a polluted Delta. That's the black mana that he was missing, so it looks like he's going to sacrifice that to play a Catacomb Sifter. A Scion on the way.
But Brad, so far, he's kind of gotten this game where he wants it to be, which is the board's relatively clean. Not a whole lot going on in Stevens' graveyard, and it looks like Nelson's going to have an opportunity next turn to play Dragon Lord Ojutai on Curve.
Well, let's see Nelson untap. Again, 4 cards in the graveyard for Jace. So just one more activation away from transforming. Silk Wrap in hand here for Nelson. You mentioned Dragon Lord Ojutai. That's over there as well. It's land number 5 there for Nelson in Flooded Strand. He'll sacrifice that. 2 basics on the battlefield, so battle lands are good to go. And there's a Sunken Hollow. You mentioned this deck, generally a blue-black deck with a small splash of white.
Yeah, and it informs some of the sideboard cards. A lot less in the terms of double white sideboard cards typically in this deck, but the mana's mostly fine.
And Dragon Lord Ojutai here for Nelson as we head back Stevens' way. Now this is a difficult threat to answer. You don't find spot removal in the Rally deck. You can find a card like Sidisi's Faithful and Reflector Mage at instant speed from Rally of the Ancestors and Collected Company, but something like a Murderous Cut, not in game 1.
And it's really rough to let Brad untap because then your Collected Company might just get countered. But if you're doing it main phase, you're losing out on a lot of potential interaction like Sidisi's Faithful and Reflector Mage to get the Dragon Lord Ojutai off the table inside of combat.
Well, Stevens with no play. Nelson will draw for the turn. Now Nelson's hand not that strong. Couple of lands over there, Silk Wrap and a mystery card. He did not activate Jace just yet either. Sitting patient there with the powerful Planeswalker. Now he'll go ahead and activate it. And it's time for him to draw and discard. Looks like he'll discard an island. And now the transformation is complete. It'll start on 5. And we'll see if it'll go up or down here.
And even if Nelson is concerned about Collected Company, if he doesn't have the ability to counter it, there's no saying that the Collected Company even yields a bounce effect for Dragon Lord Ojutai. If he can't answer the Collected Company anyway, if he doesn't have a counter spell, it's kind of hard for me to turn down an attack with Dragon Lord Ojutai, because Stevens is just going to Collected Company at the end of your turn anyway. And the upshot of finding a counter spell here is so high that I would roll the dice.
Well, there's Collected Company.
You know, clearly if Steven slips over Reflector Mage, doesn't look good.
It's a beating.
But I think there's a good chance that Steven just misses, and you're so much better served getting your attack in.
Well, he did miss.
Yeah, that's it. Brad paid off big time now for making that attack.
Zilliport Cutthroat, Catacomb Sifter, which brings an Eldrazi Scion along with it. So it'll be a hit there from the Dragon Lord Ojutai, and now Nelson will get to take a look at the top 3 cards, take one with him.
And if Nelson did not attack this turn, what Stevens rallied into makes it look so bad, because now there's a lot of scrying in play. He can start draining Brad out a little bit. It was a high-risk attack, and Nelson got paid off.
Well, he's found a card that he's happy with. That's a Prairie Stream. That's his land for the turn. And now, it's a Silk Wrap. Cutthroat, Bite the Dust.
Interesting choice here, and I think Brad's approach for the matchup here is, I'm going to keep you off of getting any sort of synergies going as much as possible, and have you try to win with just your leftover knuckleheads. Zulport Cutthroat might be a little bit less powerful on this board than Catacomb Sifter, but Brad knows there's a chance that the board continues to develop, and he's better served getting the Zulport Cutthroat off the table in that event.
Looks like another copy of Silk Wrap. So there you go. Stevens going to sacrifice that Flooded Strand and get himself a Canopy Vista. But the goal here when you're playing against Rally, this I think goes for any deck, is just keep their board clear.
Yep. Especially now if Brad can find a counterspell. Then he's in the driver's seat because he can keep Stevens off of his high-impact spells, and a lot of Stevens' deck does not amount to very much on this board.
Jace the draw here for Todd.
It's a spot where Michael Majors' stupid little owls be really helpful as a chump blocker.
The Palace Familiars. This stupid little owls are the technical term.
Whatever that.
Yeah. Looks like Jace is going to fall down to 4.
Get some chump blocking going.
Yep. Nantuko Husk is here. Now there is Jace. So starting to build a board is Todd Stevens.
But it's all on the ground. And right now he needs to answer the air.
Nelson will untap. Time for him to take a draw here.
Going back to last turn, I think Nelson also might have gotten rid of Zulport Cutthroat because he feels like I can hold off Stevens for a while, but not for forever. And I need to try to win the game as fast as possible with Dragon Lord Ojutai. The life gain could represent another turn, and Nelson may not be able to handle Stevens getting one more turn somewhere down the line.
Well, Dragon Lord Ojutai is going to come across in the red zone again. It's going to connect, so Stevens falls down to 7. Nelson will take a look at those top 3 cards. He gets to take one of them with him. Tough decision here for Nelson, taking a little bit of time. But you can tell Brad's in a pretty good spot, but just not a great one yet.
Well, he's got some high leverage, high impact draws here. He finds counter spells to keep Stevens off of his big plays here. He's in great shape. If he fails to do that, Stevens is at least drawing very big.
Well, he's deciding between something that's difficult because he's gone back and forth a little bit. Brad, typically a definitive player.
Yep.
So this must be a pretty tough decision. But he's found the card that he wants. Dig Through Time is what he's selected. There's an island. Jace ticking down, it looks like. Huh. Maybe not.
Well, he can flashback Utter End on Jace, but that keeps him off of being able to cast Dig Through Time this turn and possibly next turn as well.
Interesting turn here for Nelson. Another Dragonlord Ojutai in hand, a Dig Through Time, and a Mystery card over there. But he's having some real difficulty working his way through this. Now it might be Dig Through Time. Dig Through Time. Yep, all right. I wonder what he's on the hunt for.
Must be something specific, because he could have paid one more mana and left Utter End in the graveyard. So he had the backup plan of, if I don't find anything especially good to do with this Dig Through Time, I can at least flashback Utter End on something, most likely Jace. So if Brad was willing to exile the Utter End, it means he must have a particular suite of cards he is looking for.
Well, he found Utter End with the Dig Through Time. So it looks like he might be selecting that and something else. There's also a copy of Foul Tongue Invocation over there. I think he might be taking Foul Tongue. That's a little surprising.
Well, Brad might just feel like the game could be just become a damage race at some point.
I just need a little bit more life.
Just might need 4 life, yeah.
All right, Jason going to tick up. Going to go after Nantuko Husk. And now we head over to Todd Stevens. Elvish Visionary, the draw.
The Foul Tongue can also come up if Stevens gets put into a spot where he has to shove on a Nantuko Husk down to his last creature. But I think it's more that gain 4 is more attractive to Brad here than a random removal spell.
Stevens' hand right now. Elvish Visionary, Nantuko Husk, Rally the Ancestors. First things first is a Jace activation. That'll resolve Elvish Visionary the draw. Time for Stevens to discard, which will transform Jace. Starts on 5. Unclear where it's going to go, though. Has the ability to recast Eclectic Company if you'd like. Could also slow down Dragonlord Ojutai, and that actually matters quite a bit here.
Yes.
Right now, Dragonlord Ojutai's a 2-turn clock. 7 to 2, 2 to negatives. If you slow it down, it's 7 to 4, 4 to 1, and then that's an extra turn. That's an extra draw step. That's an extra look for whatever the heck you're looking for, like a Reflector Mage. And that's what the Elvish Visionary found.
Surprising. I would have expected Reflector Mage to be underperforming in this kind of matchup. Brad's got very few creatures. Nope.
No.
It was good enough to scatter the winds when it was targeting the Jace on turn 3. And now, if it resolves, Brad's behind a lot of turns.
Feels like a rare. Reflector Mage feels like that card is really good. Really, really good. Visionary going to be sacked here.
Yeah, I would. It passes my test. Splashy enough, and the tracking's a little annoying, a little complicated. I can see it as a rare.
It's just so powerful. Looks like Jace down. The thing is, Stevens has to be willing to pull the trigger on the Reflector Mage. And the way he's reorganizing his mana and the way he's holding the card, feels like that's the case.
Well, the other interesting route that he has here, he does have the option of plussing the Jace on Dragonlord Ojutai and casting Collected Company. If he's able to plus the Jace on Dragonlord Ojutai 2 turns in a row, that turns the 2-turn clock into a 3-turn clock.
He's going to start by playing Collected Company. Nelson tapping mana very quickly. Disdainful Stroke. Okay.
That was the risk of, that card in particular was the risk of going for it that way.
Here's Shambling Vent, and that's going to be exactly lethal. Wow.
Yeah.
So had he gone for Reflector Mage, I think he's good to go. And perhaps Brad maybe enticed him into that play.
Yep. And like I said, I think I would have had a preference there for plussing with Jace and casting the Collected Company out of your hand. It means you don't die if the Collected Company gets countered. And it also means that you're potentially taking the clock from 2 turns to 3 turns regardless. And that line of play ended up getting Stevens killed because of the Disdainful Stroke.
Well, Brad Nelson's going to win game number 1 here over Todd Stevens. Esper Dragons up a game over 4-color Rally. We're going to take a look at the sideboards here for both of these players. We're going to start with Todd Stevens, who's got 4 Ration Clerics, 3 Anaphens of the Foremost, 3 Dispel, 3 Murderous Cut, and 2 Duress.
Give me those Dispels, give me the Duresses. And I could see a little, I wouldn't want 3 copies of Murderous Cut, but because of Dragon Lord of Tie, if you wanted to bring in 1 or 2 for some of the less efficient tools in his deck, I'm on board.
Nice thing, he's got some clean cards to sideboard out. A card like Sidisi's Faithful can certainly bite the dust here.
Yes, although Reflector Mage I would have put in that same camp, not seeing the games play out, but I would leave it in after seeing what I just saw.
Yeah, I think so. For Brad Nelson, 3 Monastery Mentors, 2 Gideon Allies Zendikar, 2 Flaying Tendrils, 2 Duress. Some one-ups here in a Ration Cleric, Tasker the Golden Fang, Ob Nixilis Reignited, Infinite Obliteration, Disdainful Stroke, and a Painful Truth.
Life Toll is not under that much pressure, so I can pretty easily get behind the Painful Truths. Disdainful Stroke, a great answer to Rally Ancestors and Collected Company. And I think the 2 copies of Flaying Tendrils, I think Nelson has enough support to break up enough of the synergies. He can get cards like Tantuko Husk off the table, and then Flaying Tendrils can be extremely powerful, especially because it exiles.
Well, to game number 2, we're about to go between Nelson and Stevens. But before we get there, we got to talk about Grizzly Brand and Friends. That's SCG Game Night, the very popular promotion that you can have any night of the week at your local store and get some cool stuff.
Yes, rcgames.com/game night for more information. What you see in front of you is the January kit. Every month we send out a new kit with pins and tokens for players to play for the stores that have signed up for Game Night. Stores can run Game Night any way they want, any format that they want. Just get players in the store on a regular basis for some fun and friendly magic. And we have the next couple kits coming down the pipeline here. February, we have Magus of the Moo, and I saw for the first time today the March kit, which you can sign up for now, Grim Llama Mancer. That's going to take a little getting used to.
That's easy. So I work in the Star City Games offices now, so I know what's coming. Mm-hmm. You think this is tough.
Oh, it gets...
Oh, you got no idea.
Okay.
And they are delightful, by the way.
I would have made the llama spitting fire if I had to create the art piece for it.
Maybe.
Because they spit at people.
I understand. They just don't like people.
I went to a llama petting zoo when I was a child.
Of course you did.
8 or 9 years old. There's this place in Mendham, New Jersey, close to where my grandparents lived, which is, as it turns out, a really stupid concept for a zoo or whatever because they don't like to be pet and they spit at kids.
They probably weren't in business very long, I don't think.
It's like me and my 18 cousins or whatever on my dad's side of the family all going over and just... Some of the llamas ran away. Some of them made some weird llama noises. Most of them just spit.
Well, these players take a look at their opening hand. We'll learn a little bit more about Todd Stevens as they get ready for game number 2. He's 29 years old from Denton, Texas, right outside of the Dallas area. 3 open top 8s, but he's new to the SCG Tour, so you're not going to find a lot of other accomplishments, but what we have seen from him has been very impressive as he's a high school math teacher, played Division I college tennis at Robert Morris University, who accepts esports scholarships, by the way, and refuses to wear a hoodie or... Whoa. Pull this slide down.
That's the last we see of...
Pull that down.
Todd Stevens, you're a ghost.
No hoodies or sweatpants.
How do you live?
I mean, I understand that he wears ties.
Yeah, he's well dressed all the time.
Yes, but no hoodies or sweatpants. And that's not a hoodie, that's a coat. This is nonsensical. This leads me to believe he's never worn sweatpants before.
I doubt it's because he doesn't know they exist. I think it's...
Does he know how comfortable they are? And that if I didn't have to wear anything but sweatpants, my life would be great?
Some people feel comfortable feeling a certain way, and some people feel comfortable looking a certain way. It's 2 different things.
All right, voice of reason.
He's not harming anyone, so whatever. It's just, you're still a ghost, I'm not going to bring up that slide again.
Just cut to the other match. Never to be seen again. A Jace here for both players.
Can we update the graphic here for a line of strike through Todd Stevens' name?
I'll talk to the graphics team.
Or just redacted all over the place like black lines.
Todd will get the first go of it with Jace.
That feels like a very particular shot at us. That's what that feels like to me.
The sweatpants?
That maybe this is some of my insecurities shining through, but that feels like a planned shot.
Last week, I went to Dick's Sporting Goods in Roanoke, as Todd's going to activate Jace. He'll draw on discard. I spent 45 minutes to buy 2 pairs of sweatpants. I tried on 9 pairs to just see how they fit. And I tried on many different colors. Sweatpants are very important to my life.
Yeah, although it is funny, the idea of trying on sweatpants to see how they fit. It's like, they're sweatpants, they really only fit the one way.
See, you're wrong. Some of them are tapered at the bottom, and I don't like that. I like them to be kind of open and like, you know, flushy is not a word, but I just used it. Just flowing at the bottom so they can cover my shoes a certain way instead of just like grabbing onto my ankles and stuff. I'm very particular. The drawstrings are necessary.
Yeah.
And just to not wear them as he activates Jace again is just, I don't know. Murderous Cut took care of Jace,
you're right.
by
Track
the way.
pants kind of run this gamut from track/soccer kind of sweatpants, which are very tight, to 8-mile extra sweatpants, which are very baggy.
Exactly. Sweatpants come in multiple sizes, regular, tapered, slim, which I'm not, so I have to try them on. It's a big deal. See if Todd's able to win now, given this whole sweatpants fiasco.
Got to kill Jace at least.
Must be nice. Brad cursed again. Clearly.
Cursed.
Yep. Here's an activation of Jace. Stevens will be discarding here in just a moment, which will transform Jace. Reflector Mage, he did leave it in some capacity. I figured we'd see some amount left. I don't know if it's a full 4, but at least 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with the, go ahead and cut the Sidisi's Faithful and maybe a few copies of Reflector Mage, but not all of them.
Stevens' Jace looks like it's going to go to 6. Zilliport Cutthroat, and now Nelson will sacrifice the blue to Delta, so he'll dig a land out of his deck. Let's go to Brad. Let's go to Dragonlord Ochitai again. You know, what I love about this particular card, by the way, is that it just changes the entire way the game has to be played upon arrival.
Yep.
Todd's having some mana issues here. Jace is kind of going, all that good stuff. But Nelson, for a control deck, just tap out on turn 5 and say, this. You have to change what you're doing.
I ran some very, very low EV and hopeless bluffs against this card at the Grand Prix because there was no other option.
Just
once they start hitting, yeah.
Get in there, hope they don't block. I definitely have become immense. I would not block.
Right.
I would not. All right, my creature's dead.
I attacked with just Zurgo, and then my opponent blocked, and I played Zurgo post-combat and passed.
Trying to get to it on him. Dragonlord Ochitai is coming across in the red zone right now. You saw Stevens' 4th land. It's an Evolving Wilds. Did not enter the battlefield untapped, unfortunately for him. So he's got to search up a land so he can finally play Cut Company next turn, and that assumes it'll even resolve. One thing to note as well is that Nelson let his turn off with a Monastery Mentor, which leads me to believe that he's got a counterspell that he gets to play as well now.
Most likely. He wants to play that before combat, so in case Stevens has some removal spell for Dragonlord Ochitai, he can line up his counterspell, get a Prowess trigger, get a token for his trouble. And I really like Nelson's approach to this matchup. It seems to me that the philosophy is, I can't hold on to the game forever, but I can get on top of you in the middle turns and counter enough stuff to prevent you from being able to win the game in time.
Got to be aggressive. Got to. There's Reflector Mage. Will it resolve is the question. And again, this one is a real nuisance. And it will resolve. Wow, I'm a little surprised.
It's a lot worse for Nelson if it's his only threat. With a Monastery Mentor in play, assuming that Nelson's hand is flush with removal, counterspells, card drawing, whatever, he can let this stuff go and really just lean on Monastery Mentor to do most of the heavy lifting.
The card, it was not Salumgar's Scorn, it was Disdainful Stroke. It was timely last game, it's timely again this game, as now Nelson will get to make a Monk token off of the Monastery Mentor. And Jacob Wilson in the house, looking to get into the red zone. For Nelson, he can't play Dragonlord Ochitai. Thanks a lot, Reflector Mage. He can play a Prairie Stream, though, so that's where his turn will start. And now he might be digging through time, perhaps. How about a Jace instead? And I'll just pass the turn back. So over to Stevens we go. Stevens will draw a Jace of his own. Nelson with a copy of Utter End in hand. Dragonlord Otochai looks like another copy of Disdainful Stroke. Stevens going to tick Jace up, going to slow down the Monastery Mentor. You know, Nelson going to this sideboard package of creatures. Very interesting. You see Tassiger, Monastery Mentor, Gideon as well.
Well, there's a lot of threats in Standard that, you know, if they survive one turn, you get a huge advantage. Monastery Mentor, Gideon's on that list as well. And Brad has those kind of cards in his sideboard, anticipating most of his opponents are not going to have any way to kill creatures, or very few ways to kill creatures post-board. It wouldn't surprise me if the Tassikers, the Monastery Mentors, the Gideons, if they just came in kind of all over the place.
Catacomb Sifter going to bring in Eldrazi Scion along with it. It looks like perhaps an Utter End is on the way from Nelson. And it is. Zillipore Cutthroat will be exiled, and a Monk token on the way.
And you can see again, Brad putting a premium on getting the combo pieces exiled or dead, and leaving the ineffectual creatures in play. He's not really worried about stats, he's worried about text boxes.
An activation of Jace, draw, discard. Polluted Delta down, transformation complete. It'll start on 5, we'll see where it goes from here. One thing that Nelson can do this turn is play a land and play Dragonlord Otochai. And with that, protect it with Disdainful Stroke. So there is Dragonlord Otochai. Jace will go up.
Yeah, nothing 3 or under from Stevens' side really does a whole lot here to answer Dragonlord Otochai, and anything that he could do to hypothetically outpower Brad costs 4 mana or more.
It's very clear to me that Brad has a plan in this matchup with the way that he has played these games, but also what's worth noting is you take a look at that sideboard when we did go over it, no copies of Hallowed Moonlight there.
Yeah, he has not hesitated in any of these games to get Zulaport Cutthroat off the table, even if in spots where I felt the text boxes of things like Catacomb Sifter or the stats of Catacomb Sifter was the more significant thing. Brad is putting a premium on preventing this deck from ever being able to get all the pieces in play at the same time to combo out.
Duress looking to clear a path here. Make sure it's okay to attack with Dragonlord Otochai. Also going to get a Prowess Triggers and get to make another Monk. Stevens can't be too happy about this. So here's Collected Company. Nelson says absolutely not. Another Prowess Trigger and more Monks. And now I believe those Monk tokens, as here's Dispel. You can search up a Prairie Stream, can Stevens. Those Monk tokens are 3/3s now. They might be good attackers.
And even though this Collected Company resolving is not great news for Brad, at least he is doing all of this before he attacks Dragonlord Otochai, so there's no chance of something getting revealed that bounces it back to his hand.
Stevens will take a look at the top 6 cards, see if he can find 2 creatures. Keep in mind this Duress is still on the stack for Nelson. This is all in response to the Duress. Stevens with Reflector Mage.
But not a huge concern here for Brad.
And looks like Nantuko Husk. Brad wants to make sure he knows exactly what Reflector Mage does do. I think it's worth noting, because this is one of the things I checked when I read this card, is you can only target your opponent's creature. Now, I'm not entirely sold you'd ever want to target your own, because then it'd be on a delay, but there are times when you'd want to bounce your own creature.
Sure, there's a pacifism on it of some sort.
Yeah. But can't do that. Rally the Ancestor is going to be taken by the Duress. Stevens just left with a Jace here. However, Rally the Ancestors in the graveyard, Jace can recast it.
So. It's not necessarily an issue of, you know, is this powerful, but if this is going on, are we happy? The same reason that non-land gets put on the boomerang effects they make for 2 mana. Is boomeranging a land too powerful, you know, for standard level play? I don't know, probably is, but we don't want it to be happening, so why let it?
It's not good gameplay.
Oh, good. Someone bounced to land. I'm sure something really fun's happening right now.
Well, for you blue-red Magnivore fans out there, I'm with you. Patrick's wrong. I know where that land, baby.
Yeah. What does this deck do? Prevents your opponent from ever putting a second land into play.
It's a beautiful deck. And sometimes we're nice. We let them work up to land 2, 3, and 4.
It's a wildfire.
To wildfire them all away, yeah. See, we're very nice. Here comes Dragonlord Ojutai along with a couple of monk tokens, giving all those prowess triggers. Looks like some blocking is to be done here by Todd. Brad looking to try to close out this game as best he can. We'll find out if Nelson is maybe attacking towards Jace, for example. I think there might be some interest in that.
Rally and collect a company in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Probably some interest.
Looks like monks are going to Jace, Ojutai to the face.
Although Brad, keep in mind, still has the mana left over in a Jace activation here, so we can flash back the other end and get the Jace off the table.
Notable.
So I think is likely to be the play in the event that Stevens blocks in such a fashion to keep the Jace alive. If Stevens says, okay, no blocks, my Jace is dead, Brad will just do something else instead.
Stevens going to scry. I think he may have just targeted Jace. He may have targeted Utter End already and then went to combat. Okay. Looks a little bit strange. So I was like, did he miss his Dragonlord Ojutai scry? Just want to make sure the game state's all clear. And now he gets to look. There we go.
Missing a Dragonlord Ojutai hit does not seem like the Brad Nelson that I know.
No, me either. That's why I was a little bit confused there, but he did hit it. You saw Stevens scry a little bit because of Catacomb Sifter. And again, Todd Stevens' board has been decimated.
And down to just Jace in hand.
Stevens falls down to 7 from that hit. Here's Jace. Nelson knew about that one.
There's a very good chance this just might be lethal coming.
Yeah. And Brad even has a shambling event in the row, too.
And if the Dragonlord Ojutai is good to go, all you need to do is find a spell, and that's going to be enough.
Nelson going to start by sacrificing a Bloodstained Mire. Going to fall down to 17. We'll see what land he wants to go grab.
This assumes that if you think that Stevens is on nothing, but if you deduce that, then you kill any one creature, fire up the shambling vent, and that should be good.
Well, I love putting my opponent on nothing. Why would they ever have something?
Right.
Fire up the vent. Beat down City, USA. Not yet. Gonna tick down Jace, I think. But either way, the attack is good enough to get the job done. And Brad Nelson wins this match here over Todd Stevens, 2-0. Esper Dragons to take care of 4 color rally for Nelson. He moves on to 6-1. Todd Stevens will roll down to 5-2. But some things to certainly take away from that match. Again, you don't find Hallowed Moonlight in the sideboard here for Brad. That's long gone. And it's very clear as we watch those games unfold. Nelson had a plan from point A to point B. He executed it both times, and he was able to win the match pretty easily.